And now for our feature presentation.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
JB and Darren on the JB and Goldwater Show.
Line drive right field, base hit. South Carolina wins the College World Series. Watson, touchdown. Hunter Renfrow. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship. And South Carolina has won the national championship.
Senegal baseball team has done it again, but this time the Bulldogs beat one of the top teams in the country. They are giant killers. Get the ball to Bennett. He does.
Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
All right, greetings and a good Thursday afternoon, and welcome aboard the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online, and very proudly presented by Motley Rice, causes not just cases, MotleyRice.com. Driven by Stokes Volkswagen, StokesVW.com. You can find us on the JB and Goldwater app and at JBandGoldwaterShow.com. A lot of .coms, but we encourage you to utilize all of those. JB and Darren here till 2 o'clock this afternoon. Make sure that you follow us on social media at JB and Goldwater, individually at Sports Media JB, and at Darren Goldwater. The Share Healthcare chat lines are open. Craig and Adam, they're in there. Early birds today. Happy Thursday to you as well, Adam. We will get it, Craig. We will get it. ShareHealthcare.com as well. Again, there's another .com for you. More options, more affordable, user-friendly healthcare with Share Healthcare. We are very full today. The Braves have a chance to clinch it tonight. They more than likely will. If they win it, it's over. The magic number is 1 because they won last night against the Phillies. So a sweep will put them in the playoffs as the now what would be four-time consecutive Eastern Division champion Atlanta Braves. My little nugget yesterday, by the way, the last time they won 4 in a row, they won the World Series. That was part of their 14 straight Eastern Division titles in the National League. So we'll talk about some of that. We do have David Cloninger coming up in about 7 minutes with the Post and Courier. Obviously, South Carolina is after win number 3 this weekend, hosting the Troy Trojans, who have a very good defense, and Chip Lindsey will bring them to town, hoping to upset South Carolina. At 12:35 today, speaking to the Gamecocks, former pitching coach Skylar Meade is going to pop in. He is now the head coach at Troy, and so we'll have some fun with him, reminisce on some of his times in Columbia, and certainly get the scoop on what the Trojans baseball program looks like over there. I'm sure it's a little bit different for him this weekend, having to pull for a different school, but it'll be neat to catch up with Skylar. David Shelton at the top of the 1 o'clock hour on high school football tomorrow night, and at 1:35, Scott Glaze with Stono Ferry. He'll recap the magical Ryder Cup for the Americans last week. So a very diverse program today here, Darren. There is football tonight. There's an ACC game on a Thursday night, which is interesting. Miami's hoping to not suck anymore. Maybe they can find a way to do that tonight. So with all that being said, good afternoon.
Since we're keeping it diverse, and I know my video isn't, I don't know why it's freezing up. I'll do my best to fix it. Since we're keeping it diverse, it's not a good morning because I went to the store and I could not find the Kraft mac and cheese ice cream. I was tempted by it this morning by some of the folks over at Channel 5, and I was like, oh my God, I can actually get this ice cream now at the store. So I hurried up my morning routine. I got to the store, and they didn't have it. So I was planning on trying the ice cream right now, but instead I had to make that silly graphic and complain about the fact that I can't try my ice cream.
All right, so I agree, Clint. It does. So somebody works for Channel 5 Summer. Is it Hector or Hector?
I think it's. I'm going to guess Hector. I'm not sure. I don't know her. She's a Carolina grad, according to her Twitter bio.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Summer Hector. She, I guess, watches our show or listens to our program as well. So hi, Summer. Hope you're doing well. She tweeted a photo out this morning of this mac and cheese flavored ice cream. Now, luckily for Summer, in addition to Darren, we also have David Shelton today. So we can toss this his way and see what he thinks about it. So did the store, were they out of it or they just don't carry it?
I don't know is the answer. I don't think they carried it. There was no slot on the shelves that was empty and said Kraft mac and cheese ice cream or whoever actually makes the thing. So I don't think it's there. Ryan, my wife, looked it up this morning and she thinks you might have to order it and have it shipped directly to you, which may have to happen at this point.
Why don't you just ask Summer where she got it?
Well, I could also do that.
Yeah. Why don't you, instead of having someone ship you ice cream, obviously somebody at Channel 5 got it.
Well, if you could ship whiskey from Whiskey Jan, then you could ship me the Kraft mac and cheese ice cream.
Yeah, but you don't have to keep whiskey cold.
I did see, speaking of, there's good-looking whiskey and bourbon ice cream that was on the shelves.
All right. Maybe I'll try some of that. It helps you get
Morgan.
It helps you get over a disappointing football season. I'll be sucking down some ice cream every weekend until Christmas, maybe. All right. Tonight in the NFL, Jacksonville and Cincinnati. That means that you get Trevor Lawrence, who's had a really difficult start to his rookie season for the Jaguars, and they're not any good under Urban Meyer thus far. And they got to go up against Joe Burrow and the Bengals up there in Cincy, 8:20 on the NFL Network. Certainly will keep my eyes on what's happening in Paul Brown Stadium. And then on the college side of things, Virginia and Miami tonight. Both are 2-2. The Wahoos got off to a pretty good start, but they are 0-2 in the ACC. And Miami got off to a horrible start. And then last week, in front of about 11 people down in Coral Gables, or whatever the hell they call it now, they were able to beat Central Connecticut State 69-0. So congratulations to the Hurricanes for getting back on track, looking for a meaningful win. Although they did get one over App State. I respect App State. But you would think that Miami might win the ACC this year. And then they crept by the Mountaineers by only 2 points. So we'll see how that one plays out tonight, certainly. So pretty good night of football to get your weekend started on a Thursday. But my story personally in professional sports is what's going to happen tonight with the Atlanta Braves. Now that they've taken this series from the Phillies know it's over. I mean, Braves have to lose every game left on the schedule, and the Phillies have to win every game left on the schedule. It's not going to happen, which means that the Braves are going to win the division tonight, hopefully, in front of their hometown crowd in Atlanta. 85-72 right now are the Braves, which is actually surprising because they're only 2 games over 500 at home, and that's because they've won the last 2 games in the series against the Phillies. They're 500 inside of, what do they call it now? Is it Truist Park or SunTrust Park or whatever? But they're 11 games over 500 out on the road. However, they've gotten hot at the right time. Not like St. Louis hot, but hot enough. 9-1 in their last 10 games are the Braves. So if they win it tonight, they'll be the second team to clinch the division in the National League. The Giants and the Dodgers out west. Nobody has clinched just yet, although the Giants look good 2 games up, but both are definitely headed to the playoffs. And so tonight will be the final piece of the puzzle for the National League and putting those 5 teams with the 2 wild cards in. And then over there in the American League, the Rays and the White Sox are assuredly in. Yankees, Red Sox are right there as well. And Astros it's all but over out west as well, as they're 3.5 up on the Seattle Mariners. Tight, really tight wild card race in the American League. But that's kind of where things stand. And hopefully tonight in hot Atlanta, the Braves will be able to get it done. 2 magical pitching performances in a row when they needed them most by Max Fried and Charlie Morton.
Yeah, they've looked great. They're hot at the right time. Like you said, the Astros can clinch tonight. That wild card in the American League is like a 4-team neck-and-neck race. So that'll be fun to keep an eye on. One note for the NFL game tonight for Trevor Lawrence, for Clemson fans, there are only 2 quarterbacks who have ever thrown more interceptions as number 1 draft picks.
Oh, boy.
Than Trevor Lawrence through 3 games. He has 7 of them. Do you know who the 2 are? I bet you can guess one right off the top of your head.
Brett Favre?
No, Peyton Manning threw a ton of interceptions as a rookie. So Peyton Manning had more than 7 in his first 3 games. So did Alex Smith when he was an Urban Meyer disciple. And now Urban's got Trevor, ironically, in the NFL. He also threw more than 7 picks in his first 3 games.
Okay. Nice little stat there. I was leaning towards Favre. He did throw a bunch, but he's also pretty good. So is Peyton Manning, by the way. Now he's an analyst on Monday Night Football. I guess that's what you'd call him. David Cloninger with the Post and Courier. We call him everything. Great reporter, very nice gentleman, knowledgeable. We've tried to call him handsome before, but he said he's not, so we won't go down that road again. Anyways, he joins us here on the JB and Goldwater Show. What's up, man?
I was about to say, man, I mean, you can call me whatever you want, but don't lie to your public. I mean, geez. I'm still surprised every time I wake up and see my wife still next to me, because I'm like, geez, how'd you get her? Personality is all I had,
I get it. I understand that. I understand that side of it. Yeah, the personality is what's got to carry you in life these days. All right. Well, so what do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm definitely not going to talk about, seemingly insurmountable leads and things that seem meant to be as in terms of magic numbers and clinching and things like that. Because, everyone's like, hey, man, it's in the bag. Aren't you happy? And I'm like, yeah, the Braves only need one more win to clinch. I mean, that's like only being one win from the World Series.
Oh.
That always happens. So let's not talk about that. I'll talk about it when it's over with, if it is ever over with.
I forgot your Braves optimism from last year. I forgot about that.
Well, it's realism. Is
yeah.
What it is. I mean, if this team had a run like the hated New York Yankees, fine, okay, but they don't. So,
all right. Well, hey, look, let me blow some light into that tunnel for you. Okay, I know you're going to scoff at this, but it's true. When they won the 14 straight division titles, it was the 4th one that they won the World Series. If they clinch tonight, this will be 4 in a row.
Yeah, okay. You look at that lineup and say, yeah, that's going to win the World Series. Okay, right.
No, the Dodgers lineup is going to win the World Series, but you could get to the postseason.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, I'll discuss it when it's over with, because right now it still isn't. And, again, and everybody's like, you'll have to post it and say how proud you are of them later on. I'm like, again, that's when it's actually done.
Yeah.
There's, I've been doing this for 43 years. You never, ever think it's over.
Spoken like a true Braves/South Carolina fan. Gamecocks, aren't going to be able to get one over with a win if they can't score points. And, David, they can't score points. So what'd you make of Marcus Satterfield's comments yesterday?
I mean, I know that everybody's like, oh, that's PR, that's coach speak. No, I thought it was honest. Because I've been the one asking some version of the question every day for the past 3 weeks. After Eastern Illinois, I was like, well, it didn't really look good, but it broke open late, so that's what you have. But the past 3 weeks, it's kind of featured the same problems on offense. So when I asked him and he looked and said, I want to 100% answer that. And here's the deal. And he's like, I know that it's not perfect because it is my fault. It is my fault when it doesn't work. But there's so many times where everything's right there and the footwork's off, where one guy doesn't do his assignment. And, of course, that leads to the obvious, follow-up question. You've had all, spring, summer, fall to drill this. Mm-hmm. Why isn't it right? Well, that's drilling, and that's not playing. So you hope that it all comes together. You hope that there is at least some progress, because right now, I mean, I think we all knew coming into this season, Jamie, that USC was probably going to be outclassed by some of its opponents. That's just a result of having a lot more talent right now. And that's fine. That's understandable. But when you don't show any progress, when you don't seem like you have a plan, like you have an identity, that's where it gets to be a problem. And right now the Gamecocks don't offensively. So that's what you hope to see against Troy this weekend, because with Kentucky, who is a good team, there's a lot of feeling like they let one get away. They easily could have won that game. But as you said, it's very hard to win when you don't score.
Can they lose this game?
Sure. I mean, there's first of all, this isn't your daddy's Troy Trojans that beat LSU, beat Mississippi State, way back when, beat Texas A&M. For some reason, after Neil Brown left a really good program when he had it, and he's turned it over to Chip Lindsey, who is an offensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
But for his first 2 full seasons and the start of this one, they're really not that good offensively.
No.
They're very good defensively. Now, their defense really does run around and make a lot of plays, and that's very concerning for a USC offense that has not been able to block, has not been able to get its guys open in space, and has not been able to get the running game going. But if you look at the other side of it, USC's defense has been playing pretty well, and this offense plays right into what they do well.
Yeah.
So if their quarterback is prone to taking sacks, that's a good thing for USC. If they throw a lot, but they don't really throw downfield, that's very good for USC. And their running game is good. It's decent, but it's not the kind that's going to light you up for 150 yards. So that is good for USC. But it does get back to the question, who's going to win a game played between the goal lines? I mean, you have all the confidence in the world in Parker White, but you can't depend and just, throw it all out there and say, oh, well, Parker will win it for you. You got to get him in position, And you would hope to say, well, with the defense, they'll get a turnover. They're getting a lot of turnovers lately, but how many of them turn into points?
Yep.
So they've got to find some kind of answer on offense and say, listen, man, if you got to win 7-3, do it as long as you win. But I think we all know that it's never going to be that simple. So I'm looking forward. Well, I shouldn't say looking forward. I'm expecting a first half of a lot of slogging in between the goal lines on Saturday until they figure it out. Because one thing I can say, as much blame and criticism as Marcus Satterfield is receiving right now, and he deserves it, he's made some good halftime adjustments. Last week, the only really good drive of the game the USC had was right after halftime. So he knows what to do when they get in there and say, okay, this isn't working, let's do this, and it's usually working. After that, though, they're going to have to keep making it work.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, you had 2 fourth-quarter turnovers last week that amounted to no points, questionable decisions on Shane's side, poor execution on the offensive side. So all around, it just wasn't very good, David. Let me ask you this. You mentioned it, and you hit the nail on the head. They had all spring. They had all summer. They had all fall. No missed COVID stuff this year. Defense is back in the sport. I get that. And 16 quarters in, seemingly there's been no progress either. Is this offense? He's a college guy, but he went to the NFL. Is this offense too difficult? I feel like I hear a lot of the same stuff from players that you heard about Kurt Roper. Really smart, can draw it up on the chalkboard, X's and O's, this, that, and the other. You're blown away by how much they know. They've probably forgotten more than we know. But then on Saturday, no feel for how to call the game, and it's just too difficult. There's been too much miscommunication.
Well, it's interesting you should ask. I got a call after the Georgia game from, let's just call him a concerned USC supporter.
Okay.
And he was saying that the players are very confused by this offense and how technical it is. That seemed to play itself out when Marcus Satterfield responded again to my question, who's got the authority to audible on the field? And he said, well, the center and the quarterback do, and one has the ability to override the other. And I said, excuse me for being rude here, but what?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of sense does that make? And, of course, it was further clarified this week from Center Eric Douglas that he has the authority to move the guys on the line, to pick up blockers, to pick up tacklers, whatever he might be seeing. But the quarterback always has the final call. Oh, okay. So you look at it there and say, I don't think that you'd be having these problems of, is it too difficult if these guys are going out there and performing it? Obviously, they've been doing it for a while, just not in actual games. They've been doing it in practice. So you say, okay, well, if something's not working, isn't the obvious choice just to simplify it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think right now, Jamie, the line that has to be identified here is saying, is it too complicated Or is it a case of you practiced one offensive set or one offensive philosophy through spring, through summer, through fall, and then you lost your quarterback? And he's back now, but he's not at the spot he was before he got hurt. You also did not have your running back, your top running back, for almost all preseason camp. So I'm not saying those are excuses, because they're not. Obviously, both those guys are back, Luke Doty and Kevin Harris. But did it take away a little from what you were trying to do? Because then, while you didn't have those guys for really a 3-4 week period, what did you have to do to try to overcome the loss? Because if you had to switch some things up, put some new things in, take some old things out, okay, well, those guys are back now. So what do? Do you reinstall? Do you try to work everything into it? I mean, these are the kind of things that keep playing into it. So, again, not using it as an excuse, but those are a couple of reasons. Those are a couple of reasons that say, they designed this offense to have a mobile quarterback. And you can see that there were a couple of runs last week. It was right there. And Luke Doty didn't take off. Mm-hmm. He did run some, but the entire first half, there were no designed QB runs, not one.
Right.
And there were only a couple of scrambles. And I think they were like, protect that foot, stay back there. And you could tell when he did start running the second half, he didn't feel real comfortable on it. So that may be something that's going to last throughout the entire year. As for the running game, to me, I'm lost on that one.
Yeah.
Because you would think that if it worked last year, it would work this year, but it isn't. So they've got to figure that out. They've got to identify quickly that, hey, if the inside zone isn't working, abandon it. I know that you want to be patient, that you want to keep it in there and say, it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work. But at this point, I think that leash keeps getting shorter and shorter. You know what I'm saying? It's got to, because it's like, look, man, it's been 4 weeks now, and you got to start finding answers.
I think there's a lot of people right now, David, that they want to hear the bold questions asked, and they want to hear the bold answers that come and accompany those questions, which is something like this. So what if they score 13 points this week against Troy and you're Shane Beamer? What do you do?
Well, as long as Troy scores less than 13, you celebrate the win. But I have asked those questions. And I know a lot of people just want to hear, this is the definite problem. This is the definite answer.
Yep.
This is what I'm doing.
Yep.
That's what people want to hear. So
Yep.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, if you go back and listen to the press conferences this week, what have I asked? Shane, are you offering any extra help to the offensive meeting room? No. Are you changing any personnel, any staff? No. Okay. Marcus, are you the sole play caller? Yes. Has Shane decided to come in and add anything extra to maybe take over some duties? No. Status quo. All right. Those are the answers.
Yeah.
And I know after last week, everyone's like, God, fire Greg Atkins, fire Marcus Satterfield. Because that's what we do in today's society.
That's right.
Now, if you think about it logically for a second, and I'm not saying those guys are above criticism. I've been the one critiquing them because the units that those guys preside over have been bad.
Yep.
You fire them, who do you get? Who do you get to coach the teams?
Yeah.
You probably promote an analyst.
Right.
How's that going to go?
Yeah.
Probably not very well. And, of course, well, Dave, Auburn fired their receivers coach, and their receivers have been bad, so they made a move. That's their receivers coach.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's the receivers. I mean, you can pretty much get away with that.
Yeah.
And they promoted an analyst to take over the place. Now, is that going to help those guys' production on the field? I don't know. I mean, I think if you look at Auburn's receivers, this is just me speaking here. I'm like, well, the receivers aren't doing too well. Who's their quarterback? Oh, Bo Nix. Problem solved.
Right.
That's just me speaking. But you have to look at every little bit of things. And, of course, firing guys right now is not going to do any bit of good. Now, after the season, if this doesn't improve, of course, there's going to have to be some difficult conversations. But, and I wrote it and I asked it and said, you know, Shane, you have to look at things and say, maybe I've got to get more involved. Maybe I've got to change some things up from the head coach's chair. And he said, of course, you think about everything when you lose. But, no, we're not doing that. We got good players and good coaches. Okay. That's what he said. I know people don't want to hear it, but you can't judge it off the Tuesday answer. You got to judge it off the Saturday game. The last few Saturdays have not been pleasant. This Saturday could be. It could. And then after that, you say, okay, well, now you're starting to see some progress. If it doesn't, then you have to ask the same questions again, and they will be asked. They will be. Because it is a case of, are you going to let this season swirl the drain? Because, I mean, things don't look great right now, but they look a lot better than they could be. There's still time to have everything you wanted out of this season. You're probably going to have to go get one more game that people didn't think that you would have to win, but that's doable. It's not likely, it's not probable, it's doable. Yeah. But you've got to go out there and show some improvement. You have to have some progress. And, I mean, yes, it was a player saying it, so take that for what it's worth, but I asked Juju McDowell, what's this offense's identity? And he kind of thought about it and said, I think it's just that, the offense. Now, I'm not saying anything about Juju.
Okay.
Great kid. But when you say something like that, it's like, boy, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
Of course, we're all geared to think, well, that's exactly what he means, and it ain't good.
Yeah.
So they're still struggling to find that.
What's the confidence level? I mean, I hear what the coaches are saying. They're saying the right things. They're portraying belief. But when you're having that conversation with them, when you're with the pool of reporters, talking to them and getting those answers, what's the confidence that you hear in those answers?
Well, I mean, the guys think that they're going to get it fixed. They're going to get it settled. They keep talking culture. They keep talking family and love and all that stuff, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. Because how can I crawl inside their head and really know what they're thinking? As you know, I can be connected with the program, and I am. But I'm still only as good as the information I'm given. And if they tell me it's going fine, it's going fine. If they tell me it's going bad, it's going bad. And I have not heard that it's going bad. So unless I'm out there with a helmet on and pads, you know, hitting people at practice, I wouldn't truly know. Till I'm out there with them in the locker room, in the film rooms, talking with them every single day, I won't know for sure. So there's limits to what I can do, although I'm out there. Mm-hmm. But if they say they're confident, then who am I to say that they're not? So they just got to go and try to get it better this weekend, and then try to get it a little better than that next weekend. But when they say that, it's like, well, I mean, until you got something proven it's not, and how could you ever prove it's not? That's what you got to go with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, David, fans in their minds, they're at this crossroads of what is this going to look like under Coach Beamer? Is this a Sam, what everybody's hoping for, a Sam Pittman, quote, turnaround, although, by the way, it has taken him a year and a half, or a Mark Stoops rebuild? And Kentucky gave Mark Stoops so much time, and they're on the right path. I just don't know that we're not going down that road right now. I just know that people don't want to hear things like that. Well, 5 years, are you kidding me? We can't get beat by Kentucky and Clemson and Georgia for 5 more years. But I don't know that it's that far away.
You always know the grass is always greener in the other guy's yard. So, of course, when they see, well, Sam Pittman, year and a half at Arkansas, they were terrible and they're good now. Well, that's Arkansas.
Yeah, yeah.
All I know about is how it goes here. And historically, it's what I always say. Why do you expect greatness from a program that has really never had it? You just have to think that things are ingrained. But see, what do they reply to that? Well, that's loser mentality. No, it's reality.
Right.
I mean, I have no idea why you would think that everything's always going to be the same for South Carolina as it is at other places. Because it never has been. Yes, they've had some great seasons. I've been around for a lot of them. They've had some success, but it's never been sustained. So why would you think that it would be? Why would you think that it's just automatically going to happen here? There are things, and I wish I could say something more specific than things. But at some point, it's just, you know what? Your program is what it is. And I don't know if it's ever going to get out of that. But you always have to try. You always have to. So people, I don't know why anybody would expect a quick turnaround considering the roster Shane inherited, considering the last 3 seasons. To compare it to Sam Pittman at Arkansas. I get the comparison because he came into a program that had won, 7 games in 3 years, something like that.
Yeah, it was bad.
And he's got them 4-0 and ranked in the top 10. But all I can say to that is you're right, but that's Arkansas.
Yeah.
This is South Carolina, and they're not the same. So it's never going to be as cut and dried as that guy can do it, why can't I? It's never going to be like that. And people don't want to hear patience, especially these days. But I think that's what you have to have. I mean, the best of us thought that coming into this year, 5-7 would be a pretty strong season, right? 6-6 would be a damn miracle.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They're still in line to get those things. Now, I personally have said, hey, I think 5-7 is the absolute ceiling, but 6-6, tremendous accomplishment. So they're still in line to do that, but they're going to have to, fix a lot of things, and it all comes on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, I think that we all looked at offense and said, running game's good, tight ends are good, they'll figure it out passing. It's the defense you got to worry about. Well,
that's right.
That shows where you go with what you know, and it's all good, but it's just how things have happened. The defense is really good right now. The offense isn't. So sometimes things just work out like that.
Yeah, and special teams. I think that's where fans are disappointed. The special teams, the defensive side of the football, you can see the improvement. And then on the offensive side of the football, the one strength you thought that you knew about on this football team, which was the running game, has been the biggest dumpster fire, the biggest disappointment. It's a disaster. I mean, that's you could the worst word that you can find to use. That's it. That's what it's been through 4 games.
Because frankly, there's no reason it should be happening when the only things that changed were the coaches and the schemes.
Yeah.
But there are other things that go into it. The defenses that they play have geared to stop it. The schemes are not the same as they were a year ago. And as Marcus Satterfield said, sometimes it is just a case of footwork. Sometimes it is just a case of guys not doing the right thing. For all the free rushers coming at the quarterback, well, it's like Eric Douglas said, if the left defensive end, meaning he's going around the right tackle, is coming free, that's not good. But is the entire USC offensive line and the play running to the left? Because then it's designed, you see?
Right.
And if the play is not there, let's say he's throwing a 3-yard out to the tight end, well, if that tight end trips, he gets blocked. Well, now it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because now you have the play call right, and it should have worked, but something happened. And, again, that's what a lot of things are happening now, too. And it does go back to the basic philosophy on play calling. Well, if it works, great. If it doesn't, you stink.
That's right.
Last week, in particular, the 2 calls that we were all talking about all week, going for it on 4th and 5 from the 25, or 4th and 2, whatever it was, when you had Parker White right there ready to make it a 3-point game. Now, me personally, I would have kicked. That's me.
Yep.
But when you look at the play and you have some time to think about it, and I thought about it and thought, you know what? No matter what you do, it's probably okay. They had the play called. The play was there. The play worked. But the guy dropped the ball. Something you just can't plan,
Right.
It was the right call. It didn't end up working. So it's a bad call because it didn't work. And you can't really blame somebody for that. Now, I'd have gone for the onside kick at the end of the game. And I think that was a bad call because it was the bad play call, not because it didn't work. But me personally, I would have kicked. But I understand why they went for it. And to their credit, it was there. Just Jalen Brooks couldn't hold on to the ball. So that's one where you say, well, you had it and something beyond your control happened. So you just got to shake your head and say, okay, and in the grand scheme of things, fellas, it didn't end up mattering anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
If it had been 13-10 when USC next got the ball, it would have mattered. But it was 16-10, and a field goal wouldn't have done you any good.
More of the same with drop passes, DC. That was the fear coming in. Crucial ones last weekend certainly affected the outcome of the football game for South Carolina. But they got Troy. They'll try to get back over 500 at 3:30 on Saturday. What are we looking for the next couple of days in the Post and Courier to get us prepared for this one?
Well, you got a little thing in there today about Luke Doty and the offense, the struggles he's facing. Tomorrow, of course, I'm going to be continuing a series that I've done on the 2011 USC season, it being the 10th anniversary and all. And then, of course, the usual keys to the game, and then what's going to happen during the game. So I don't think that it's a, line in the sand kind of time, saying like, oh, well, if they don't show nothing this week, season's over. I don't think it's like that. But there does definitely have to be some progress shown, because otherwise you start toying at least with the belief that Shane Beamer brought in with him. Because it's like we all said, guys, for 8 months it was great. Everybody's happy, slapping each other on the back. Everything's cool because you didn't have to prove anything yet.
Right.
But now games are starting to come in, results are starting to come in. And you're like, okay, you're the head coach. How's this going to be fixed? Because we want to hear a definite solution as a society as a whole. Something's wrong. I want to know how to fix it. I don't want to be told it's wrong and that you're going to fix it. I want to know how. And through no fault of his own, and Shane Beamer hasn't said these words, but for the past 3 years, what have we heard from the head coach's chair?
Mm-hmm.
Go fix it.
Yeah.
Gonna fix it.
Yep.
Never
We'll
how.
get it fixed.
We're going to fix it. Okay. And Shane hasn't said that, but he has said everything's under, review, and, it's a process, and you just got to go out there game by game and try to get better. So that's they're back on the clock this weekend.
I hope they get better. That's for sure. 3-2 would with a win against Troy is much needed with what they've been going through. David, we'll let you run on that note. We gotta make a phone call. As a matter of fact, over to Troy. Skylar Meade is going to pop in here in just a couple of minutes and catch up with us. So, as always, though.
Well, call down to if you got some spare time, call down to Brian Sticker and say if he brings Will Smith out to pen tonight, he's going to have some problems.
Okay.
That's for me.
We'll do it. Mark it down.
I'll relay that message. Yeah, we'll get on the horn here right around the end of the program. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
There you go, David Cloninger of the Post-Courier. All right, let's hit a quick timeout. When we come back, Skylar Meade will join us from Troy, Alabama, right here on the JB and Goldwater Show.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle, and we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes VW.
Negative trade equity financed a new loan subject to lender approval.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work. And two others you probably don't think much about: stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations: Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
Motley Rice LLC is a law firm with international reach, but it hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for people harmed by products including asbestos and talc exposure, medical drugs and devices, and also catastrophic injuries and auto recalls, including dangerous Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. Visit MotleyRice.com. Thank you, Motley Rice, for supporting the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
You're listening to the JB and Goldwater Show, live, loud, and online.
All right, 12:41 Thursday afternoon. Welcome back to the JB and Goldwater Show. Very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Long time no talk to one of our favorite guests, Skylar Meade, former pitching coach for the Gamecocks, but current head coach of the Troy Trojans in Troy, Alabama. And this week, Gamecocks and Troy are going to meet on the gridiron. Maybe they will one day on the baseball field. But we just wanted to catch up with him, so we figured we'd give him a call and interrupt his Thursday afternoon. What's up, bud?
What's going on, guys? Y'all doing all right?
Well, we're good. We're good. How are you doing? How is it being a head coach for the first time at a good program in a really good league? What have the last few months been like for you?
They're busy.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just had a little deja vu, like talking to you guys the day after the press conference about 70 days ago, and it's kind of crazy. Not that it like totally slows down, but just you feel like you have a better feel for what's going on from a daily, minute, hour standpoint. And so, there are certainly things that I'll learn as time goes on, but each day is more and more comfortable. And I somehow, although I know you guys know I'm pretty positive, I'm actually having more and more fun every single day too, which is hard to imagine.
So who you kind of walk me through how your day has changed, Skylar. I mean, you used to just be in charge of the pitchers. So what do you do when you wake up now and before you if you ever do get your head on the pillow at the end of the evening?
Well, I wake up pretty early. So usually it's like you wake up, 5:30, do a workout. Now that my family got here, they got here like 5 days ago. So we just moved in our house. So, do the kid thing, take them to school, 7:15, 7:20 drop-offs. And then it's usually into the office after that, kind of catch up on like small paperwork things or, this will give you a lot of insight, but our budget cycle is October 1st to September 30th. So making sure we spend or don't spend the right money we need to do. And then, go over some practice stuff, go over some daily stuff, talk to my administrators, meet with guys. We'll usually, we've had a ton of recruits in here. We have one in now, touring campus. And so we've done a lot of stuff with that, either be on the road or practice in the afternoon / early evening, and then be on the phones all night, trying to get more and more players into this program. That's kind of a vague overview, but that's basically what each day looks like right now.
So what's that like, Skylar? I mean, you were at Michigan State, you were at South Carolina, the flagship university here in the Palmetto State, a place that's won national championships, brand recognition. You give a guy a call, you talk to him after a ball game over in Atlanta or wherever. Oh yeah, the Gamecocks. Wow, it instantly sticks out. I'm not saying that it doesn't at Troy, but you've come from one of the elite programs in college baseball over the last 30 years or so. Is there a difference when you're recruiting kids and how that goes, or no, not really?
No, I think there definitely is. And you have to be keen to that, but it can also be advantageous in the sense too. Like, we're recruiting some kids from the Midwest, from Chicago. I mean, we got some good players over some really good programs late this summer or even early this fall. And some of it is we have branded ourselves here and the way we want to be branded as a new staff. And with the facility upgrades, with the history that's here, with the fan support, with the administrative support, like I don't want to say we can do whatever we want, but we kind of can do whatever we want. And so, we're able to send guys these, behind the scenes videos. We show them stuff on ourselves. Obviously, we think we're pretty young and energetic staff. People seem to be fairly drawn to that. We play in a great baseball conference. It's warm as can be down here. This might be the one place on earth hotter than Columbia. Like, those are all things that are advantageous to your recruiting. Now, do you from time to time have a kid that does not know anything about Troy? I had a kid the other day I spoke to, and he was like, Coach, man, these videos are amazing. That place is awesome. I got to be honest. I thought you guys were in Texas when I first talked to you. And I laughed about it. So do you run into that sometimes? Of course you do. But you also aren't going to be ignorant that every kid you're going to go, battle from a recruiting perspective. If we're battling LSU, South Carolina, and Georgia for every kid, that might be a bad way to go about it. But at the same token, it doesn't mean that there's not some kids that Troy may not be the perfect fit. You know what I mean? And so it's about finding a fit. It's about finding guys that'll thrive in our atmosphere and our culture. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that thus far. But, we're only 2 months and a couple weeks in, so we'll still have to learn some more ins and outs. But the brand recognition has been better than I thought it may be on the front end.
Skylar Meade, former pitching coach at Carolina, but now current head coach at Troy. For those that may not realize this, you mentioned it's a good baseball league. It's a great baseball league. Coastal Carolina is in the East with you. Georgia State, I know they had a down year. Georgia State should really never be bad ever again. They're in Atlanta, where it's like the East Coast home and hub for travel baseball. App State's program has had a resurgence. Georgia Southern, long tradition of success, one of the prouder programs in the Southeast. And then the guys that won that division last year, it's another former pitching coach at South Carolina, Mark Calvey, who coaches South Alabama down there in Mobile. Have you had a chance to talk to Mark? And if you have, what has that been like? Some garnet and black flavor there in the Eastern Division of the Sun Belt.
Well, it's always nice to connect with another guy that from time to time could feel the wrath of Gamecock Nation after a loss. No, Coach Calvin's great. He's done a heck of a job down there at South Al. They love their baseball down there in Mobile. I think we probably will do a lot of things very similar from a recruiting perspective and the way we're kind of attacking things. And, between them and Louisiana Lafayette, obviously another great program. Those are some people that, have baseball history, have won a lot, and quite frankly, have head coaches that I respect a lot in terms of what they do. So, Coach Calvi has been he's been really good. I know, he's a guy that obviously there's a lot of commonality in terms of our past, but I obviously hope that we can have as much success and quite frankly, hopefully even more down the road here now that I'm on the head coaching side.
Yeah, you'll know who I'm talking about here. I'm not picking on anybody, but there's one fan in particular you can hear. Hey, Calvi. Hey, Skylar. You know where I'm going with this. You've probably signed 1,000 autographs. So we same friends. So Skylar, with Coastal winning the national championship a few years ago, can Troy win the national championship?
So Troy won 2 Division II national championships, 1986, 1987.
Mm-hmm. Can they win the D1?
Can they? I don't see any reason we can't.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I'm looking for.
Hey, listen, they're not putting all this money. Our chancellor here, he sure likes to bring it up quite often, but the goal here is Omaha. I mean, do we just blast it everywhere and go bonkers about it? No, but if you're playing high-level college baseball, there is no other goal than Omaha. Fortunately, I got to play in Omaha. I can speak to that experience. And you know what? Quite frankly, I played at a place that had never done anything in its history. Troy's done more when you compare them now than what the university I went to had ever done.
Right.
Louisville was in the one NCAA tournament, had never been any good. We had just moved into a new facility. There's a lot of commonalities. Am I saying that Troy's going to be in Omaha in 2022? By no means I'm not saying that, but there are a lot crazier things that have happened. And Coastal Carolina is the poster child, not only just because they're a conference mate, but there's a lot of similarities to what we are doing and what we think we're going to build here. So, heck yeah, that's what we hope we can do. And I sure would love to see what a parade would be like around here if we went to Omaha with as much as they love baseball.
I know we're getting up against it here. We got to let you run in just a couple of minutes, my man. But I know you got some nice digs down there. They've done a bunch to the ballpark. I was looking at pictures the other day. I think Riddle Pace Field is the name of it. Correct, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Beautiful place. Anybody listening should Google this. I mean, literally a beautiful ballpark. What about Dan McDonnell? Who obviously played for, you know him very well. Coach Kingston, Coach Tanner, Chris Lemonis. I'm just trying to rattle off a bunch of head coaches or former head coaches that I know that you know and are close with. You know, how I don't know that you talk to them all the time, but how helpful have they been in this process for you as a first-time head coach?
Oh, they've all been incredibly helpful in their own ways. And I don't try to, overstate my welcome in terms of asking advice, but there's certainly been things I've called them on, texted them on often. I mean, Coach Kingston and I stay in touch a lot. I mean, he's been great. Sometimes we don't have anything important to talk about other than just something funny, that a story or some situation that we're laughing about. And obviously Coach Mack has always got a lot of advice, and I welcome all of it. Same for Coach Lemonis. And yeah, there's just, those are a lot of guys that I will not just lean on right now when I'm in the infancy stages of this, but as it moves on, I know there's going to be more and more questions, and I just appreciate that those guys will always take the time for me.
Well, I know that they've historically, Troy, I know last year they had Alabama and Florida State, a bunch of big-time programs on the schedule. How are you going to schedule moving forward? You going to try to play a bunch of these SEC and ACC guys?
Well, we always will play Alabama and Auburn at least 3 times during the year in our midweeks. Mm-hmm. This year Indiana comes into us for a 3-game series. We go to LSU in 2023. We'll certainly schedule in a way that's going to allow us to have the ability to be an at-large team if we don't win our conference. That's one thing the Sun Belt has done really well. It's why it's been a multi-bid league all the time, and it's, quite frankly, one of the best mid-major leagues there is. And so, yeah, you have to schedule that way. You got to be intelligent with how you do it. But yeah, we're down in that part of the country, as you know, so there's going to be plenty of opportunities for it.
Yeah. Well, I hope it for me personally, it'd be a lot easier if you could schedule games here in the state of South Carolina instead of Darren and I having to hop in the car and drive to Troy. So we hope that you'll do that. We'd love to see you either in Columbia or down here against the Citadel or Chad and the College of Charleston. Hey, put some of those on your schedule, okay? So we can get over there and watch you play.
Absolutely. No, we'll see what we can do in terms of making that happen for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll text you later. I'll remind you to do that. Skylar, before I let you run, obviously, last week, some just horrible news with Ryan Fisher. I've known Fish a long time. You, like everybody that's been in that Gamecock baseball program, I know grew very close to him. But he lost his battle with COVID. And so I wanted to get your thoughts on Ryan as a person, and just not only maybe what he meant to you, but clearly what he meant to South Carolina athletics.
Yeah, I was going to throw in something about him there. So great minds certainly think alike. Yeah, Ryan, it's just incredibly sad. And a lot of people may not realize this, but our top manager the last couple of years in South Carolina, Gavin Pence, who literally worked hand in hand with Ryan for years, I hired him as my director of operations. And so I know that hit Gavin really hard. He went back to South Carolina for the last 5 days, and which was certainly I was glad he went back and got to kind of be there and get his head right, because I know it really hit him hard. But Ryan is just, and it's very sad that you say it in past tense now, saying was, but what a tremendous guy. I mean, even just for me, I remember when I first got there, and people will laugh. We had a great coaching staff that I could lean on, and yet the 3 people I leaned on the most my first year to learn about our players was Ryan Fisher, Tom Pancella, our bullpen catcher, and Billy Anderson, our strength coach. And I'd sit in there with Fisher, honestly, sometimes for an hour and just be like, hey, tell me about this guy. What makes him click? And Ryan always was opinionated, and he'd say things, and sometimes I'm like, well, is it that bad? And he'd say, it is. There's no way. Mm-hmm. And he just, I don't know, he was a special guy. Had a unique way to kind of, it sounds cliche, but he did light up a room. He was always in. Obviously, he bled Gamecocks. I mean, he was Garnet, through and through. And it's just really sad. Obviously just every aspect of it. And I know he battled like a son of a gun. And I feel terrible for Liz. I know that, their child coming on, Gia, in a couple months. It's very sad. But the one thing that I will say, I think the silver lining in all this is Ryan truly impacted so many people in a real way, not the way where you just say things about them after they're gone, but like people will take care of Liz for the next 50 years. People will take care of their kid. People will take care of their family. Like his memory is only going to get stronger because of what he stood for and what he's really about. And obviously it's very sad now, and it's going to be sad anytime people think about it. But I think the thing about his life is you should be able to smile by all the things he did and the people he actually impacted, which is an unbelievable amount. I know the ceremony yesterday, and I hated it. I was unable to get back to it, but I followed along with it. And I just know he's a tremendous guy, and he will not be forgotten by anyone that ever spoke to him at least one time. Fortunately, people like you and me and many others, we got a lot of time with him, so I'm thankful for that.
I don't know that you could say it any better than that. He was he made you feel good when you got to talk to him for whatever reason. He just always made you feel good. He was a great guy, and he's going to be missed. And we miss you around here, man. We always wish you the best of luck. We're always thinking about you, certainly. And it's probably, I'll put more of this on me than on you. You've been a lot busier. So I just need to do a better job of calling you. What's a good hour to call you? Like 5 a.m.? Do I need to get up that early, catch you real quick?
No, that's when he's in the gym. Well, you got to wait.
Well, that's when the brain's going the best. Listen, here's the beautiful though. 5 a.m. for me, 6 a.m. for you. Some in that central time zone, the best time zone.
Sure. No problem. Yeah, my kids have me up there.
I will leave you guys with a really positive thing. We got two great events going on in the world of sports this weekend. We have the Battle of Troy in South Carolina, which we know, which will be a fun one. Yeah. And then Sunday, 4:25 Eastern, my alma mater's quarterbacks are going to battle it out, Teddy and Lamar. So everybody turns it on CBS there. It's a win-win day for me.
Do you have a pick for both of these games?
Well, I mean, Troy does pay my checks now. So,
Sorry, careful, pal.
Yeah.
So Troy wins, and let's go with Lamar. Lamar wins?
I think, you know what? I'm pro Lamar, but I'm also massively pro Teddy. I don't know. I think it might be a Broncos day out there in Mile High. We'll see.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll text you around 5 a.m. on Monday, and we'll fuss and discuss all this stuff. Skylar, thank you. We really appreciate it, man. It's great to talk to you. Seriously, we really do. We're pulling for you big time. Wish you the best of luck as you continue to get this team molded. I know that you said 1250 is 1258. We'll pay our back rent on that, but we'll get back in touch with you here pretty soon and get you back on to get another update. Best of luck this fall.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
See
you got it, brother. There you go. Skylar Meade, head coach of the Troy Trojans, former pitching coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, a guy that I grew really close with the last few years. He's just a solid dude and somebody that you want to play for. But if you're a stud in this state, as much as I love Skylar, you don't have to go that far. There's a lot of great schools in this state, so don't want to not promote our in-state programs for baseball, certainly.
Good to hear from Skylar. He's a good friend of the show. I didn't personally know Ryan. I know you did, and I knew you knew him very well. You were close with him. But I thought he said it very well about what his impact can be moving forward, even in a loss. I think that's some of the most some of the most impactful things that you can say about someone, that when they leave, they've left the place in a better place when they're gone.
Yeah, he's a good. I'm telling you, he was a good dude, man. He's a good dude. Good dude. I'll be interested to see what. He did a lot with Carolina football, obviously, very close with them, but Carolina baseball was always his thing, and I'll be interested to see what they do to honor him, because I'm sure that somebody will do, maybe Coach Tanner, I'm sure, will do something to honor Ryan permanently over there at Founders Park. He deserves it. Great guy. Got a couple other great guys still ahead in the final hour on this Thursday afternoon. It's the final day of September. How about that, huh? October tomorrow. Come on, Cold Air. Let's go. When we return, David Shelton on high school football. Scott Glaze is going to wrap the Ryder Cup. And I'm going to give you a stat.
Oh,
a Major League Baseball stat when we return about a former Gamecock who just did something that only 7 players in the history of Major League Baseball have done. And it is an amazing statistic. Hang tight. The JB and Goldwater Show, very proudly presented by Motley Rice. We'll be right back. Right here in our backyard is Motley Rice LLC, a law firm that hasn't lost its Carolina roots. The Motley Rice team fights every day for South Carolinians who were injured while traveling by plane or bus, harmed by medical drugs and devices, or burdened by dangerous auto recalls, including Takata airbags. Motley Rice is headquartered in Mount Pleasant at 28 Bridgeside Boulevard. We are honored to have Motley Rice as a sponsor for the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show.
At Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, families walk in the footsteps of our nation's heroes, the brave ones who risked their lives to defend our way of life. Home to the aircraft carrier USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, and the USS Cloninger, there's more than 1 million square feet of exhibit space to roam. White Glove certified, we have several new health safety measures in place to enhance the visitor experience. Come for the day and leave feeling inspired. One of the most impressive museums in the country, located right here in Mount Pleasant. Visit patriotspoint.org for more. We'll see you soon.
People don't like to get stuck in traffic, stuck in the mud, stuck at work, and 2 others you probably don't think much about, stuck with a big medical bill or stuck with a healthcare program that doesn't fit who you are. Experience true medical freedom with Share Healthcare. More affordable, more options, user-friendly, and biblically sound. You can join right now. Explore a new way to show you care with Share Healthcare. Join us today at sharehealthcare.com. sharehealthcare.com.
This is Scott Glaze, head golf professional at the links at Stono Ferry, located on the outskirts of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm inviting you to tee it up on one of the most scenic and challenging courses in the Lowcountry. Our back 9 is highlighted with 3 holes that border the Intercoastal Waterway. Visit stonoferrygolf.com to book tee times and discover all that Stono Ferry has to offer. The links at Stono Ferry is a former South Carolina Golf Course of the Year and is also home to the College of Charleston men's and women's golf teams. Come see us. We would love to have you. stonoferrygolf.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Half, Public Information Officer at the Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum. We're home of the mighty USS Yorktown, USS Laffey, Cloninger, and Vietnam experience. And we're a proud partner of the JB and Goldwater Show. We invite you and your family to come see us and enjoy a day on Charleston Harbor. Visit patriotspoint.org for more information. And now, it is my honor to present the National Anthem.
Live, loud, and online.
All right, final hour, Thursday afternoon. Welcome back. The JB and Goldwater Show, very proudly presented by Motley Rice. Causes, not just cases, motleyrice.com. If you've been injured, which would be very unfortunate, while driving or flying by plane or driving by bus, or you've had a Takata airbag injury, I hope you haven't. Maybe you've had a situation with medical drugs and devices. Motley Rice's point on all of these cases. You need to head to motleyrice.com They've never forgotten their local roots. MotleyRice.com, headquartered right here in the beautiful Low Country. It is also Thursday, so that means it's buy one, get one half off foot-long cheesesteaks at DB's Cheesesteaks. If you're in Charleston, buy one, get one half off footlongs over at DB's. Now twice voted Charleston's best cheesesteak in the city paper. JB, Darren, and David Shelton. Now, before we get to David, we have a couple of errands to run here before we get to David. One of them is going to be this whole ice cream thing with Darren. But first, I have a stat that I have to throw out to everybody. And David, you'll like this because you're a baseball guy. This is an amazing stat you watched at some point in time in his college career. Whit Merrifield, former Gamecock, now the star for the Kansas City Royals, last night became the seventh player ever in Major League Baseball history, American League or National League, to have multiple seasons of 40 doubles and 40 stolen bases. The others, hold on to your hats: Hanley Ramirez, Alfonso Soriano, George Sisler, Tris Speaker, Ty Cobb, and how about this one? Brian Roberts, who also played baseball for the Gamecocks under Ray Tanner after transferring in from North Carolina. So with all that being said, we get to David Shelton. What's up, man?
Well, I just want to be on the record to say that I did not see Tris Speaker play or George Sisler.
But Ty Cobb, you were there for Ty Cobb.
But Ty Cobb and I used to tie one on after every game and smoke cigars and drink. I don't know if it was called Budweiser back then, but whatever. A long time ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ty Cobb's a good player. You came up at a good time, bud. That's
yeah, I appreciate that.
Good times of baseball. Before we get to this whole ice cream thing that I have to throw at you, you're the one that I'm really wanting to hear from on this. Braves tonight with a win, they're going to clinch. You're going to be the second Post and Courier guy that's going to poo-poo this for me. I have a feeling. I already threw this at David Cloninger, and he said, yeah, whatever. The last time that the Braves won 4 consecutive division titles, which was that run of 14 straight, the 4th year they won the World Series. If they win the game tonight, this will be their 4th straight year of winning the division. So maybe there's hope for a World Series.
You are nuts, dude.
What is wrong with y'all?
You are nuts.
The optimism of Braves fans is just overflowing.
I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here with my son at the Swig and Swine on Trolley Road. By the way, the brisket was on point. But he is a huge Braves fan, and even he is not counting on them winning the World Series this year.
All right. Well,
he doesn't even think they'll beat the Brewers.
When we hang up with you, we're going to call Sapikoff. I'm going to throw this stat at him, and I always like Gene's response. That is a great stat, Jamie. That's what I'm looking for here.
I think he'll then echo after that's a great stat. He will then come right back down with everyone else at the Post and Courier, and me too, by the way, because the Braves are not winning the World Series.
I don't think they have the pitching depth to do it. I think Freed is a win. Morton is probably a win because he's great in the postseason, but you got to have that third guy. And I don't think, I mean, Ian Anderson maybe, but in that situation, I don't have the confidence in. And I know I'm going to make my son really mad. I think Will Smith is like god awful as a closer. And
he's not.
And I mean, any closer with an ERA close to 4 is not going to get you to the World Series, I think. But
I would agree with that.
That's the baseball guy in me.
This is going to be a great postseason. There's a lot of really great organizations. Yeah.
I think the postseason is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, I do too. Both leagues. There's a lot of great There's a lot of organizations having great years, and then the Braves have won 9 of 10. I mean, they're hot. The Cardinals are scorching hot.
What happened to them,
dude?
Holy
I don't know.
Cow! The Mariners aren't the Mariners on some kind of hot streak too? I mean,
yeah.
You know, the postseason will be fantastic if the Boston Red Sox fail to make it. I will be the happiest guy in the history of baseball.
Well, this weekend, Yankees and the Rays this weekend, and another South Carolina tie there. It might be Jordan Montgomery that the season comes down to for New York. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. More important things in high school football. Once again, I'm just kidding, high school guys. We're going to get to you in just a second. I know T-Nick's listening, so I can't get him mad at me. But all right, so we got a tweet this morning.
What's up?
we got a tweet this morning, David, from Summer Hector over at Channel 5.
So to be fair, they put it out. I responded, and then she throws it out, I guess, because she's been watching, I guess. So she then ties in the show and ties in all of us about this.
Yeah. So this is I'm a huge mac and cheese. I had great mac and cheese last night from Martin's Barbecue and brisket, by the way, David. You and I think alike. But Summer Hector this morning tweets to Darren. I think she included me in that actually, but it was more geared towards Darren. Clearly, her and the Live 5 crew this morning were eating mac and cheese flavored ice cream in the studio. Would you or would you not try that?
You're literally going to make me throw up my lunch.
And it's not just mac and cheese ice cream. It is Kraft mac and cheese ice cream.
Oh my God!
But it's made by some other
me with an aluminum bat.
Van Leeuwen. Is that how you pronounce the manufacturer of it? Van Leeuwen, maybe. But it is Kraft macaroni and cheese
ice cream.
Darn right.
Yep.
Oh my God! See, we had this discussion last week. The stuff that people are doing with mac and cheese is like sacrilegious. Like, I mean, there ought to be. You know, we're instead of mask mandates, we ought to have a mac and cheese mandate. You don't mess with it. Again, I can handle bacon bits in it. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But a mac and cheese ice cream?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You know what's worse?
I have never heard of that.
What's worse is that I went to the store this morning after this conversation on Twitter, and they didn't have it. I was gonna try. I was very excited. My wife looks it up. She's like, "It's not at the Teeter." I said, "Well, I'm going to go anyway and look." And it wasn't.
Yeah, where do you find it?
You may have to order it. You go to their website, they ship it to you, but maybe it's in stores too. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But is mac and cheese? Wait a minute. Mac and cheese is hot. Ice cream is cold. So is the mac and cheese like? Is it cold?
Oh, it's frozen.
Like. Oh yeah. No.
I'll send you after the show. Maybe I can email to you. I'll send you a picture that I keep popping up here during this conversation.
I'll read.
It's fully ice cream.
I'll read on it, and I mean, I might would taste it, but just the mere thought of it just disgusts me. I mean, I just, you know, as what I like to call myself, a true mac and cheese connoisseur, I don't, I can't even think about that. That's just weird.
Yeah, they call it cheesy chili goodness. Whatever. Whatever. All right. Well, let's try to figure out what's good in high school football this week. So, OCA and BE are going to play. BE still does not have a win. What's this look like for them? They're 0-5.
Yeah, I don't. They're not going to beat Oceanside. I think Oceanside will probably win the rest of their games. They're coming off a bye week. I mean, Hanahan's going to probably give them a pretty good contest, but I think Oceanside will win out the regular season. And other than Hanahan, I don't think very many games will be close. Now the Bishops are, you know, they haven't won, but they've had so much stuff going on with injuries and the COVID thing, and they just haven't been able to put together. And this was a team that did not have a lot of experience coming back to begin with. So, you know, I think they're on their third quarterback, and I mean, he joined the team 2 weeks into the season as a baseball player, and they made him the quarterback. And so I love Coach Canny. I think he does a great job over there with Darnell and those guys. And I just don't see them beating Oceanside. I can't see how that's going to happen.
Yeah, it's not. I'm with you. Oceanside's going to beat the crap out of them. God bless you, BE, but you're going to lose. All right, for all the David, Shelton, Cane Bay loving people up there, y'all are all wonderful. I love you. 4-1, what a great start. But 2-1, Wando without a quarterback comes in this week, and they're going to beat you 75-0. Who wins this game, David?
I will take those odds, and for $100,000, let's make a bet.
Minus 75.
I'm actually covering that game. I'm actually covering that game Friday night, and you know, Cane Bay's 4-1, and you know, they won a defensive struggle with Ashley Ridge last week. they really haven't beaten a great team yet. West Ashley was a pretty solid victory, even though their record is not great right now. But I think they're a pretty good team. Wando's defense is pretty physical. I mean, their secondary, those guys in the secondary, they hit you. Des Loring's a really good back that they can throw to, but this Cane Bay offense is a different animal, man. I mean, that wing, double wing T thing, whatever it is, like Paul Johnson offense, I call it, Jerry Brown offense. Yeah. They got speed in the backfield. I mean, they got some guys that can burn, and they hit big plays. I think Cane Bay will win the game, but I think it'll be competitive. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But Wando's going to be tested defensively, and if Wando can get 3 touchdowns somehow, get Loring the ball and figure out a way. I mean, they're not playing Stall and they're not playing James Island. Cane Bay's a legitimate 5A program. So I think if they can get 3 touchdowns, they got a shot. They'll be in the game.
Mm-hmm. 75-0 Warriors,
but not 75-0. No.
They got too many offensive problems. They don't have any quarterbacks. They literally, my cousin who's a wide receiver over there, they had him take a couple snaps in practice last week, and he's like, "Dude, I haven't played quarterback since I was like 11." But it is what it is.
Maybe they'll call you.
Yeah, they don't want me out there. What about Ashley Ridge and Fort D? Are they still playing this week?
Yeah, as far as I know, and I think Fort's gonna have their way with them. I think Ashley Ridge has a pretty good defense, but their offense is just not clicking. And to beat Fort, as we saw last week, Myrtle Beach scored 27 on them. It wasn't enough. You got to get into 30s to beat Fort, and I just don't. I don't see Ashley Ridge in no way having that kind of offense. Not to mention Fort Dorchester's defense is pretty dang good.
Yeah. How good was Fort Dorchester's win last week? Because they were trailing Myrtle Beach for a little bit, and then they came back and won that thing. How good was that win?
They were trailing 14-0 in first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, they got blitzed early, and they just kind of wore them down, that their depth, and Myrtle Beach played some guys both ways, and I think Fort ended up, they were trailing 21-10 at half, and then they scored the next 21 points. And then, Myrtle Beach scored on the very last play of the game to make it 27. So it's really basically a 10-point win. Myrtle Beach scored right at the buzzer. But that's a nice solid win. I mean, they've beaten Dorman, a little bit down Dorman, but Myrtle Beach is a nice win, a top 2 or 3, 4A team. And again, I saw Somerville beat Goose Creek last week, and Darren saw it, and I just want to commend the Red Hat. I think he called 18 more timeouts than he was supposed to, but that's a good win for Somerville, and maybe they can give Fort something. I don't know, but that was a good win because Goose Creek was on a roll, and they shut down Demetri Simmons, and their defense is. Somerville's got a good unit on defense. Their front's good. Their secondary's good. Offensively, they're going to have to become more consistent. But they won the game. So I think they'll beat Stratford Friday night. I think they're going to probably, get off to a 3-1 start. And that will be, if they beat Stratford, that'll be Berkeley, Goose Creek, and Stratford all in 3 in a row. Well, that's a pretty good 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's where we were going next. One of the great rivalries in the Low Country, and I'd say one of the great rivalries in the state. The Knights and the Green Wave up there at Stratford tomorrow night. Stratford's just, unfortunately they're struggling a little bit. I know Denny's frustrated. They gave up 69 points to Goose Creek, and then lose to West Ashley last week by almost 2 touchdowns. I think 27-14 the final there. So, Somerville wins this one, David. That's 3 in a row, and pretty good programs, even with the struggles of the Knights.
Yeah, and I think they're going to win. I think Somerville is a better team, and having been able to see Somerville, live in person, I really do like their defense. And I think Aaron Self, their defense coordinator, is one of the best. So they're going to win. They're going to play good defense. Ian Rafferty said after the game, he said, "We're going to hang our hat on our defense. We're going to play defense." and then we're going to try to find a way to score, 3 or 4 touchdowns. And they feel like if they do that, which has been proven to this point, they can get to 21 or so. They feel like their defense will keep them, give them a chance to win.
Yeah. David Shelton posting Courier. How about Porter Gaud? They got a tough one tomorrow night against Lawrence Manning, one of the better SCISA programs out there. 4-2 are the Cyclones.
Yep. Yeah, and Porter Gaud has lost to a really good Hanahan team and a really good Hammond team. So Lawrence Manning's a physical. That'll be a physical game. I like what Brad Bowles is doing at Porter Gaud, though. I really think.
Yeah.
I really think another year or two. I think they've got what he's putting together there. They're different than what they were under Rick Reach. Where they threw the ball every down. Now they're more of a power running game, and they try to control the clock, and I think it works. I mean, it didn't work against Hanahan, but Hanahan, is a pretty darn good public 3A school. But if they could beat Lawrence Manning, I think that would set them up to get on a little run here. But Lawrence Manning is going to be tough. They're going to be physical, and they're going to play, big boy football with a big offensive line and things like that. But they're coming off. They got hammered by Hammond last week, which kind of everybody has been getting hammered by Hammond. But I think that'll be a good football game.
And Goose Creek and Berkeley tomorrow night. Goose Creek, this is what scares me for the Stags. I know they're good. They got a good program, but they've played 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
David and Goose Creek has played 5 of those ball games. How do you see this matchup?
Yeah, I think I would be concerned if I were Berkeley not having enough game experience. They didn't get to play Sumter. They didn't get to play River Bluff. Even if they had lost those games, I think that would have been good for them. But they'd have been 1-3, and everybody would have been like, "Oh, woe is me." But when you play really good football teams, you find out things about yourselves. And I mean, they played Stahl, and then they lost to Somerville in a game that they just didn't play well, and then they haven't played since. So, I wonder how that game's going to go. They're not sharp offensively or defensively, but they're a team that if they get that offense going, that option offense, I mean, they can control the football. They can keep Goose Creek off the field, but they got to do it. I mean, they got to get first downs because Goose Creek, as we saw last week, even though Demetri Simmons got shut down pretty good, and they had so many snap problems and so many motion penalties. I think I counted 6 false starts.
That's it.
And
wow.
I mean, yeah,
it felt like 30
of the 137 penalties. But I mean, that was the most penalized game I've seen in a while, and on both sides.
Yeah.
On both sides. I mean, there were. I mean, I quit counting at 25 or whatever it was, or 20, I think, and I was just like, I'm going to quit counting these things. But I think Goose Creek has got a lot of potential. They got it. Their defense didn't play bad against Somerville.
Mm-hmm.
They did get run on a little bit, which has got to be a concern because Berkeley is going to run the football, and they've got 2 pretty good backs. So if I'm Goose Creek, I'm like, we got to get off the field and we got to put our offense, give our offense a lot of opportunities, and then not have all the penalties and all the. I mean, they just did not look good last week, and I was kind of surprised. And some of that Somerville, I'm not going to take it away from them, but I just, if you'd have told me, well, I mean, I would have bet anything that they'd only scored 2 touchdowns. I would have taken that bet. But I think Somerville's defense was a lot better than a lot of people thought, including me. I mean, I knew they were good, but I just thought the balance that Goose Creek brings offensively, they can run it and throw it with really good receivers. I mean, they got 2 guys, Levine and Kion Smith. I mean, those 2 guys like 6'2", 6'3",
yep,
and can run and they can catch. So, I mean, their offense is really good, but their defense is going to have to get better, especially, when you start thinking postseason, you start thinking long range. They got to get better defensively, or it's going to be a quick out.
What name do you have?
Yeah, I was going to say, you can watch that game tomorrow night. That's our My TV game. Everett German will be joining me. So the two boys back together again. I don't know how long it's been since we've actually done a game together. So we'll have some fun, but that's what we've got. We've got Goose Creek trying to get a little bit better than they were last week. And don't forget, with all these Berkeley games and experience that they've missed, they're also still new to this Jerry Brown offense. So that's less time to get this thing learned.
Good point.
Absolutely. And it's taking time. And, now they have been getting a lot of practice, but but they got it. You got to play games.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's been some talk about, maybe they could have played River Bluff with, a little shorthanded, but played, maybe take a loss. But then the Sumter game, they just couldn't find anybody to play. Sumter canceled that game, when their region went to region games first, so they had to cancel all their non-region games. But Berkeley tried, I suppose, but they tried to find somebody, but there just wasn't anybody. But before we go, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here, but I'll be at the Lucy Beckham first varsity football game tonight.
Nice. They're
going to play Bamberg Earhart.
Oh boy.
Even though they're a JV. Yeah. Oh boy. They got permission to play varsity game because they were trying to fill their schedule. And I mean, they're still 9th and 10th and 11th graders. But they got permission to play a game, and Bamberg needed a game, and Bamberg's going to come down here and play them at the old Wando Stadium. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, they thought they were going to play their first game next year. But they're going to play, and I'm sure it'll be a festive atmosphere, a lot of history. I mean, it is history. It's their first varsity game in school history. And, I probably would not have wanted to bite off Bamberg Earhart. I know it's a Class A program, but they play bigger than they are. It's big boy football when those cats get on the field. But it'd be good for Lucy Beckham. I mean, they might win the game, which would be unbelievable for their program, but it is a first, and that's going to be fun. And I'm glad they're playing on Thursday because I'm looking forward to going to watch it.
Where are they playing that game?
Over at the old Wando,
okay. All right.
Mathis Ferry, where the old school is.
Yeah. So are they gonna permanently do that now? Because I know there was at one point in time this idea that Beckham was also going to play their games up at Wando, but are they going to continue to play them?
That's why I had to ask through Twitter if they were playing at old Wando or at the new Wando, and Scotty Iceberg said they're playing at the old one. So I don't know if that's going to be a permanent deal. I guess that's where they've been playing their JV games.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that's where they should play.
I'm not sure how they're going to do that moving forward.
I mean, I look, not to get off on a roller coaster here, but but the people, the decision makers in the town of Mount Pleasant really screwed that up. That's Wando's field. Wando should play on Wando's field, and Beckham has plenty of room. Play in your own damn field. There's no reason for those two schools to be sharing a ballpark. That's ridiculous.
They need to fix that stadium.
And I don't know if that's going to be I don't know if they're going to share it. But you're right. I mean, the old Wando Stadium is huge.
They should have never even torn it down.
But it's across town. So I agree with you. I don't. The North Charleston Stadium that 4 schools use, that's a little different because that's at a neutral location. But I'm with you. I mean, if you got your own stadium on your campus, that's your stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't like to. And if I was Beckham, I mean, honestly, if I was Beckham, I wouldn't want to play at Wando.
No.
Field.
Not at all.
I don't want to bus across town to use their stadium. And if I got a stadium right here, right by the school, right in the backyard, like I said, it's plenty big enough. It's not like they're going to put 10,000 people in the game. I don't know what the surface is like, but I'm sure they've kept it up because I know they've been playing JV games. So, that should be your stadium. I would want my own home facility. I remember when Stratford opened the first year. I know the first year, but maybe the first 2. But I'm very sure the first year they played their home games at Goose Creek. And a lot of people were saying the same thing back then. It was like, we don't want to play at Goose Creek, and Goose Creek's like, we don't want you over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But created the rivalry.
That's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be. Well, I hope that's what prevails out there. Elsewhere, real quick before I let you run, brother. Not a ton of big matchups. There's some good ones around the state, but the one that did catch my eye is talk about a kind of a crosstown rivalry. These two schools are not far away from each other up there by Clemson. Daniel and Seneca. You got 5-0 Daniel, 5-1 Seneca. I know you don't cover these teams, but check out these scores for Daniel at 5-0. They beat easily 54-21. Duluth, Georgia, that's a pretty good program, 41-19. Hendersonville, North Carolina on their own turf, 42-13. And then Walhalla 62-0 and Emerald 57-7. So Seneca and Daniel are going to get it going this weekend, a combined 10-1 record. That's really the only thing that truly stood out to me between two programs that are having really good years outside of the Low Country. I don't know if you know anything about those teams, but if you do, the floor is yours.
Daniel offense, Daniel won the state championship last year and averaged 52 points a game and got several of those guys back, including their quarterback. Their quarterback was Trent Pierman, whose dad coaches at Clemson, Danny Pierman.
Yeah, Danny. Yeah.
Sweeney's kid plays there, and that's where all the coaches at Clemson, their kids go there. So, but yeah, they're really good. Seneca will give them a challenge, but I think Daniel's going to win that. The other game that has got a lot of interest is up in Rock Hill, where South Point is going to play Catawba Ridge. And, that South Point coming off a loss to Spring Valley, but they're really good. And Catawba Ridge has been really good. And they got quarterback Jaden Davis, who's, considered one of the top in the 2024 class. So, in the country. So that's going to be a really entertaining game. Just because Catawba Ridge is kind of a new school, but they've been really good in the last 2 years, and South Point is South Point. So I think that's going to be a matchup that people that follow it across the state, people are going to kind of keep an eye on how that game turns out.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder what surrounds that kid on the offensive side of the football, because they really haven't scored a bunch of points. And I know he's a talented young man, but I don't know much about Catawba Ridge, but I just wonder what else is on the offensive side of the football besides his right arm.
Yeah, they have a couple of guys. I mean, they don't have the big time prospects, but they are not. They were better offensively last year, but they kind of hang their hats on defense. And speaking of quarterbacks, the guy at South Point, oh God, I can't remember his name. I think it's McCrory, but I'm not positive. But I think it is that. But this cat is like 6'5", 235. Ooh. Like, he is a big old boy and can run and throw it. We did the scoreboard show every Friday night, me and Phil Kornblut, and we had the Spring Valley coach on, and they sacked him 9 times. But he said, basically, when you sack him, you don't sack him with one guy. Like, you got to bring the house. Mm-hmm. And he said sometimes we would hit him and he would go down, but our guy would get hurt, running into a Mack truck. But that was a huge win for Spring Valley. If you get a chance, guys, go on Huddle, South Point Huddle, and just click on some highlights. I mean, the guy is huge. He's a big old boy. I mean, he would be a defensive end at any college in the country, but he's a good quarterback. Like, I'm not saying he's just a big guy that's playing quarterback. He's a quarterback. He can throw it and run. And, but man, he is a big high school kid. Ain't no doubt.
I will be sure to check that out. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm putting that in my notes right now. David, we'll let you get back to your probably a cold lunch now. We're sorry about that, but we're not sorry that we had you. Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
I wolfed it down by 103 because I knew Darren would be calling, and I was like, I hate to be smacking brisket in my mouth while I'm talking to these guys, so I swallowed it. I'll digest it later. I mean, most of it's still stuck midway between the esophagus and the stomach, but I'll beat myself in the chest a little bit, and I'll get it down.
Hey, well, look,
thanks for that update.
Hey, I know you're always looking for the barbecue and the mac and cheese. So the next time that you are headed towards, or if you're headed to James Island, either to watch James Island or First Baptist, go to Martin's Barbecue right there on Folly Road. Our friends do own it, so there's a personal interest for me in promoting them. But it is
Martin.
Yeah, it's super good. I mean, it's really, really good.
Oh, I will. I've always just eat at the one right there. What is that, Melvin's or whatever?
There's a
Right
Bessinger's
there
over there and a Duke's. There's a Duke's over there too.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I love Swig and Swine brisket, and guys, I tried their baked potato salad today.
Whoa!
And I gotta say that was I like potato salad, and that was pretty darn good.
Okay.
I didn't even do the mac and cheese today. I did hash and rice and skipped the mac and cheese because I'm not their mac and cheese is okay, but they do it with the them shells, and I have a mental problem eating shells. That's not macaroni and cheese. I want macaroni. So I don't eat the shells.
Well, they don't do the shells at Martin's, so don't worry about that. It's classic and it's smoked.
I'm gonna try that. I will try that.
Martin's Barbecue, smoked mac and cheese.
I don't even need to go to a game over there. I'll just drive over there one day and eat.
Yeah. Oh, you'll love it. The outdoor area is so cool, and it's a great place to watch football. I mean, it's a really, really great place. They've done a great job with it, and the string beans are fantastic, by the way.
And I heard you mention DB's cheesesteaks, buy one get one half off foot long or whatever.
That's right.
I may have to try that on a Thursday. I'll grab my son and we'll go eat cheesesteaks.
Absolutely.
Eat 2 foot longs.
Right there in Avondale and West Ashley, foot long, buy one, get one half off foot longs. My favorite is the buffalo chicken cheesesteak. Just FYI.
Ooh.
Pretty
Hey,
tasty.
you're making me hungry. I wish I hadn't ate.
That more and more, I'm telling you, more and more, this show makes me hungry. Like within 10 minutes of starting the show, it makes me hungry. And then it follows through for 2 hours. And then by 2 o'clock, I'm just starving. It's a pretty much daily occurrence.
I love talking sports with anybody. I love talking sports, but I like talking food too. So, it's kind of a combination. It really is. I mean, when you cover sports all your life, I mean, I cannot even begin to count the number of barbecue places I've eaten at over the last 32 years.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
It's gotta be close to 100. I mean,
I bet.
traveling the state. When I was with the high school sports report full time, I was covering games all over the state every Friday, and we would literally, me and the photographer would figure out where the barbecue place was in that little small town, and that's where we'd go early, and then during the first quarter, I'd sit in the car and take a nap because I had so much barbecue and macaroni and cheese. And then I get out there by halftime, and the photographer's out there trying to shoot pictures. He's like, "Man, that ain't fair." I was like, just tell me what happened. But I've been to a lot of barbecue places.
Yeah, well, that's what being in the South's all about, David. You know that. That's the ticket to living down here, brother. We're going to let you run on that note. Go get yourself a nap. You got a long Friday night ahead of you.
Yeah, I got a long Thursday night because I got to go to that Beckham game.
Yep. Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, Thursday, Friday. Go.
Yeah, well,
You're passing right by Darren's house. Have Darren take you out for dinner over there at the Dog and Duck.
Yeah, that'll work too. Since we're talking
I
food.
love the Dog and Duck.
See?
Yeah. Get the wings. Get double dunked wings. That's what you want.
That's true. Those are really
And
good.
they have good potato salads, by the way.
They do.
Dog
Yes.
and Duck does have good potato salad. Yeah.
Yes.
Dog and Duck. We got your back. There you go.
This
Thanks.
food update brought to you by David Shelton.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. On Twitter at dshelton66. Thank you, man. Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, guys. Take care.
There you go, David Shelton with the Post and Courier and food segment.
And food.
Yeah. Dog and Duck. Just go to the Dog and Duck. It's a Thirsty Thursday. Go have a drink.
I'll tell you one thing I've been getting there a lot is a chicken Caesar salad wrap. And then sometimes I'll throw buffalo sauce onto the grilled chicken within that Caesar. And it's spectacular.
That's what happens when you're VIP. Is this on the menu?
No.
Well, no. Well, I need you to make it for me. Well, that sounds good. We'll do that.
Easy. Can I have a chicken Caesar? Thanks. Can you just put it in a wrap for me? Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, with buffalo sauce.
Somebody back there's like, you gotta be kidding me, freaking Goldwater family.
Oh, yeah. For a while, I was ordering wings that they had to cook for 20 minutes. So anytime that order went back, they knew exactly who was there.
Yeah.
Stealing a whole fryer for 20 minutes.
You think we should get to Scott?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Let's hit a timeout. Scott Glaze up next on the JB and Goldwater Show. Hopefully, you won't ever need legal help for a catastrophic injury or health issues from a medical drug or device. But if you or a loved one suffers injury or loss, Motley Rice LLC is a nationally recognized law firm that is right here in Mount Pleasant at 28 Ridgeside Boulevard. Thank you, Motley Rice, for sponsoring the JB and Goldwater Show and the Big Gamecock Preview Show. Visit motleyrice.com for more. motleyrice.com.
This is Mike Mazzell for Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate Road. You know what happens when you sell record numbers of new vehicles? That's right, we take in record numbers of local trades. Despite what the news is saying, quality pre-owned vehicles really aren't that hard to find. You just need to know where to look. Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate and on the web at stokesvw.com. We've got over 1,200 pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and all at a fraction of the price when new. Every vehicle has been inspected and reconditioned, many with the balance of factory warranty. Best of all, at Stokes Volkswagen, you don't need perfect credit to get approved for a quality pre-owned vehicle. And we'll take any trade in any condition, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Don't forget, we'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from us. You're going to love our pre-owned selection, I guarantee it. So come see us today at Stokes Volkswagen on Ashley Phosphate or stokesvw.com.
Peace and love at Stokes Speed Up.
Negative trade equity financed a new loan, subject to lender approval.
Wando Power Equipment, the trusted home of Hustler zero-turn residential and commercial mowers. There is nobody more trusted in South Carolina than our friends from Wando Power Equipment. They've been providing elite commercial and residential service for over 30 years. Landscape Services have turned to their selection of Hustler zero-turn mowers like the Raptor. Bigger, stronger, faster, and the most durable Raptor Hustler has ever designed. Located on Daniel Island and online at wandopower.com. Wando Power Equipment, owned by the Price family, the home of Hustler zero-turn mowers, rentals, service, and specializing in family and friendship.
You hear me talk about Dog and Duck all the time, and there's no other place I'm going to watch my college and NFL than the Dog and Duck. They have 3 locations, Bell Hall, Park West, and Clements Ferry Road. They have specials all football season long, like $12 pitchers of their own D2 brew, $5 pints of Sierra Nevada, weekly pick'em sheets with prizes, and the best wings in town, bar none. For all your football, college, and NFL, the Dog and Duck, Clements Ferry Road, Bell Hall, and Park West.
What's up, everybody? This is South Carolina singer-songwriter Patrick Davis, and I might live in Nashville, Tennessee now, but guess what? I can always keep up with the news back in South Carolina because I've got the JB and Goldwater Show. Thank you, JB and Darren, for being live, loud, and on air.
Scott, you have the perfect hair for a headbanger. What's up, man? Scott Glaze out there at Stono Ferry. You're riding high. The Americans pounded those sorry Europeans last weekend. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I was I was skeptical. I even though I was fired up last week for the Ryder Cup, very skeptical going into it, just considering how we had gotten boat raced so many times in the last, feels like 10 years more. The Ryder Cup has not been friendly to the Americans, but tell you what, those guys showed up and they showed out last week. It wasn't even close. It was a beat down. I love the phrase, the slaughter by the water. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Nice.
And
war by the shore. So the war by the shore and the slaughter by the water. That's where we are now in American golf.
That's right. Well, the war by the shore, that was definitely a war by the shore. It came down to the last putt that Bernhard Longer missed for the Americans to win. And but this was definitely the slaughter by the water. Great play by the Americans. Just awesome weekend. Really kind of restores my faith in American golf. It's funny how we can just flip on a dime to be talking about, man, what is going to be the outcome of, or what does the future look like for Ryder Cup teams for the U.S. if they come in and don't win this Ryder Cup when they're heavily favored and such a strong team, and then they come in and dominate in the most convincing fashion ever in the Ryder Cup, a 10-point victory, most ever in the current Ryder Cup format when it was restructured in 1979 to include all of Europe. So the most convincing fashion. It could have been worse. They could have beat them worse than they did, especially with some of the way that some of the matches on Sunday, late Saturday unfolded. But great weekend for American golf, and it's very exciting to think of the next couple Ryder Cups to come, and these really exciting youthful teams. I mean, you got to think this is the first time we haven't had a team that's included Phil Mickelson and or Tiger Woods since 1993, I believe. So even though we've had a youthful influx on these teams, it really kind of felt like a changing of the guard. And this is the new generation. It's crazy that Dustin Johnson is now the old figurehead he's the old grizzled veteran on the team. It's very exciting, and thoroughly enjoyed last weekend.
So how about Steve Stricker, man? I mean, if you have a heart and you watch this guy, you just felt it. I mean, he was so emotional. He called this his major by his team winning the Ryder Cup. We all felt like he had a really interesting and difficult, if you want to call it that, task to get this group of guys to play as a team when you kind of understood that there were some personal issues, obviously Bryson and Brooks and this, that, and the other.
They hugged it out.
But yeah, I mean, Stricker even said, hey, there was a time where Brooks and Bryson were like, put us together if you need to, whatever you need to do. We just need to go win this thing. So as a captain, I mean, the whole team, obviously Mickelson, it just felt like everything offset itself really well. He was steady Eddie. Mickelson was like, hey, you missed a putt. You suck, make you laugh. Overall, the leadership just seemed outstanding for the U.S.
Yeah, and I think they've done a really nice job. That is one good thing of the task force that they created back, I think it was about 2012 or so, when they created this task force for the way that they were going to the qualifying system for getting players in, the way they were going to use their captains' picks, the way they were going to set up these captains. Basically, so there's almost a succession plan in place. Steve Stricker has been an assistant captain. He's been a President's Cup captain. He got his chance at Ryder Cup captaincy this go round in his home state of Wisconsin. I think it shows how well respected Steve Stricker is in the golf circles and in the golf community. He only played in 3 Ryder Cups, I believe. He never won a major, but is one of the most respected and well-liked guys on the PGA Tour. And especially by his fellow peers and fellow PGA Tour members. And I think that's what made him such a great captain. And he spoke to it after the fact of how he let these guys just do what they want to do. There's a lot of hoopla that goes on in the Ryder Cup, and a lot of times there have been captains to bring in guest speakers and bring in Michael Jordan for a rah-rah speech, or call in the president to do and have these videos and go watch inspirational sports movies and stuff like that. And he didn't do any of that. He said these guys, they are great at what they do, and we're just going to treat it like as normal of a week as he could, make it a little more casual, let these guys have fun. And I think that's a great model. And he did say after the fact too, that he never won a major championship, but this was his major. And I think he will take that for the rest of his life as one of the crowning achievements of his career. I know that he certainly doesn't want to put up with the stress of being a Ryder Cup captain again, but Steve Stricker was the President's Cup captain back in 2017 at Liberty National when the American team set the record for the largest margin of victory in the President's Cup. And then he turns right back around and does it as a captain in the Ryder Cup, in the rich and historic Ryder Cup lineage there. So I think it is set up very well. If we look down the line, Zach Johnson was very influential as an assistant captain. We have seen him as assistant captain now the last couple Ryder Cups. Phil Mickelson, this was his first go-round as an assistant captain. Tiger was an assistant captain in 2016, and although he was not there, based on things that I have heard, Tiger was an assistant captain from afar. So I really think we have it set up over the next few Ryder Cups to where I think we'll have Zach Johnson be the captain in 2023 in Italy. Then I think it sets up perfectly for 2025 at Bethpage in New York for Phil Mickelson to be the captain. Phil Mickelson, captain on home soil in New York City, I think is that's a given. And then
that's a wild scene.
Yeah, and after that, 2027. I'm not sure if we have a. Actually, we'll be in Ireland for 2027, and they might. Who knows if they throw somebody else in there? But I think starting in 2027, Tiger basically is going to have his pick of when he wants to be the captain, and if he's going to want to do it for more than one stint. But I think Steve Stricker set forth a great game plan on how to deal with this or how to structure this youthful American squad going forward for potentially the next 3, 4, 5 Ryder Cups to really put a string together and kind of regain that dominance in this event.
You did see the video of Thomas and Berger on the first tee in between sessions Saturday, right?
Oh, it was fantastic. I loved it.
I'm just making sure.
It was, it was great. I have to critique it a little bit. You can tell, I think Daniel Berger, that's not the first time he's shotgun a beer in his life.
Yeah.
It went down smooth and it went down quick. And I love it. It's not my own commentary. It was somebody's commentary of Justin Thomas of the veteran move of, I can't quite chug all this beer, so I'm going to spike it down to the ground instead. I think that's exactly what happened. But kudos to those guys. And also the swagger. There were still, I think there were still 16 points available in that Ryder Cup.
It was before the Saturday afternoon session. So they'd only played 3 sessions.
Yeah, they'd only played 3 sessions. You still had 4 points available Saturday afternoon, all 12 available on Sunday. And these guys felt so confident in the way that the team was playing that they went out there and started shotgunning beers with the fans. So that's some immense swagger right there. And, I said Justin Thomas was going to be Captain America. I think he was for sure. We saw him in some big moments, really hyping up the crowd. And that was great, especially playing to that Wisconsin crowd. I'm sure there were a lot of cold beverages consumed Friday through Sunday.
StonoFerryGolf.com to book your tee times. Scott, of course, the golf pro at Stono Ferry. You mentioned the future is pretty good for American golf, and it almost felt to me like the Europeans know that. Like it, you know what I mean? Like just some of their comments, Rory and others, like not bad. Nobody was taking shots, but it was almost like, yeah, they're pretty good. Those guys, if they all continue to play, that youth movement is going to be a challenge for us. So, I don't know what the youth movement looks like necessarily for the Europeans, Scotty, but it almost seems like not only did the scoreboard show America dominated, it seems like now from a mental standpoint, Europe understands that this next decade or so could be a little bit difficult to get that sucker back.
Yeah, it could be tough. And as much as, and I love, we don't have to necessarily dive into Rory's comments after. I love Rory and probably my favorite player in the game. Obviously other than Tiger. And I thought his words afterwards were very poignant about the Ryder Cup. I think, isn't it ironic that there's so much money and corporate structure involving the Ryder Cup. There's so much money to be made around the Ryder Cup from the PGA of America, of which I'm grateful being a PGA member of the European Tour, the state of Wisconsin, all of these companies that are affiliated with the Ryder Cup, yet these players don't make a dime from the Ryder Cup, yet there is this immense passion. You saw that flow through Rory when it was over, and, we never see Rory get choked up like that. So I think Rory obviously is going to be a veteran on this team moving forward. The European team is losing several veterans. That is probably the last time we'll see Lee Westwood play on a European Ryder Cup team, and Ian Poulter, and potentially Paul Casey. Westwood and Poulter, a little bit older, nearing 50 years old. Paul Casey's 46. He is just a top 10 machine. I could see him playing in 2 years, but we don't know the form that he'll be in. Sergio Garcia is also getting a little bit long in the tooth. And I think Victor Hovland is going to be a staple. And I really, although he did not win a match last week, I really was impressed with his form and his moxie and the way that he carries himself on the golf course. It's going to be tough for the Europeans, especially with as strong of an American team this is. The United States had 6 rookies on the Ryder Cup team. They went 14-4-3. So that is that's a record for Ryder Cup rookies. Now those guys are seasoned tour winners like Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Harris English, Daniel Berger, Scotty Scheffler. Incredibly impressed with Scotty Scheffler. He's the first player to be on a winning Ryder Cup team as an American without winning on the PGA Tour yet. He has not won on the PGA Tour yet. I think he's going to win very, very soon. The confidence. He came out and boat raced Jon Rahm, the number 1 player in the world, the dominant number 1 player in the world, on Sunday singles. Beat him 4-3. That's the first time an American has beaten the number 1 player in the world in the Ryder Cup since Chip Beck beat Ian Woosnam in 1991 at Kiowa. So very impressive by Scotty Scheffler. And I think all these guys are going to be staples going forward. And then headed up by Dustin Johnson, who went 5-0, first American to go 5-0 since 1979, and really just immediately flip his Ryder Cup record. He was 7-9 going into this Ryder Cup, and now he won 5 straight. So now he's got a winning record all time in the Ryder Cup at 12-9. The biggest thing, although Europe, they are always underdogs on paper. However, over the course of the last 10 years or so, they have been the favorites in the minds of everybody watching the Ryder Cup. Going into the next Ryder Cup, they will be underdogs, barring any injuries or anything crazy from the U.S. team, and maybe a couple new additions or people to fall off. But it's still, like Jordan Spieth referenced after the singles matches, after it was all done on Sunday, is that the work is not yet done for this American team. We haven't had an American team to win the Ryder Cup on foreign soil since 1993 at the Belfry. And Tom Watson captained that team. So in 2 years' time, when we are in Rome for the Ryder Cup, it will be the 20-year anniversary of the last time the United States won on foreign soil. So this win is great, but I know the core of this group and the core of American golf, they want to go over there and do it in Europe, and that is going to be a tough task. Whoever's on that European team, regardless of who's there, it's going to be very tough to do.
Yeah, well, these guys aren't worried about that. They haven't even sobered up from last weekend yet. I don't think they're worried about 2023. By the way, the Belfry sounds like they played that at a hotel, just as a FYI. When I mentioned last week, Scott, and I know we got 2 minutes left, and we got to let you go, but I mentioned last week, and I'm no golf expert by any means. That's why you're here. But I thought if they got through Friday and they had a lead, I thought it was over. Personally, I thought it was over. I thought Sunday they're going to wipe the floor, and Saturday they'll at least stay on. They'll at least have this thing essentially on Saturday. But I thought if they got through Friday, it was over. When did you think this is over? It's in the bag for the U.S.
After the Saturday morning foursomes, I think it was definitely. I felt like it was over. It was hard. You're right. My heart thought it was over after Friday with that dominant performance. But I spoke last week to how important foursomes are in the Ryder Cup, and historically that is a very strong format for the European team just because of how cohesive of a unit they are. They can trot out any duo, and they seem to really play well together, ham and egg it really well. Foursomes is the alternate shot format we saw both Friday and Saturday morning. Well, the United States in those 2 sessions went 6-2. So after Saturday morning, winning 3-1 in that session, and then just taking a dominant lead into Saturday, it certainly felt over. It felt like it was over, and the route was on. Even at 11-5 or whatever it was, 11-5 going into Sunday, it was over. I think it was over. A lot of the statisticians out there were only giving Europe like a 1% chance to win. But we've seen some crazy things. We've seen 2 comebacks from 10-6 down, one on the American side in 99, the other in 2012 at Medina by the Europeans. So it was great then to see the Americans get off to such a hot start on on Sunday and put it away, and it was so out of hand, Darren. I went to the Dog and Duck and just was able to celebrate with the Americans there, watching it on the TVs there. I didn't see you. I was
you missed
shocked.
me. Sundays are typically like the group of guys were there for kickoff, maybe potentially a little bit before kickoff, and then we last however long we're going to last. So by the end, I was home double screening football in the Ryder Cup.
Nice. Yeah. I don't blame you.
Oh. Go USA. What a rear end kicking of the Europeans. Bye-bye. See you next year. See you, Europe. I could say so much more, but I won't. I'm going to hold my tongue. We have a lot of European followers here. They oftentimes will jump into our chat room here and send porn sites to Darren, and then he has to get rid of them. All right, Scotty, stonoferrygolf.com to book your tee times. I know there are some available this weekend. Tomorrow is the first day of October, so I want to go ahead and start this message. Everybody listen up. December 25th annually is Christmas.
No.
We hang stockings. Stocking stuffers. Gift cards. Stono Ferry. They have the gift shop, whatever, balls, clubs, any apparel.
Yeah.
The gift shop, gold jacket, green jacket. What is this? Happy Gilmore? You see what I'm saying? The pro shop out there has everything. And then you can also, they're small. They're called gift cards, and you can shove them in the stocking like Santa Claus and for a round of golf. It's a killer idea. They have people that do this every year. You can do it too. So Scott, what about though? I know we're past time and Darren's charging me for this, but what if somebody in Colombia was like, oh, you know what? My mom and dad are going to go to Charleston. Maybe I'd like to give my dad a gift card to go play golf at Stono Ferry. Can they get a gift card from out of the area?
Yeah, for sure. So you can log on to stonoferrygolf.com. And if you go like you're going to book a tee time, on the top of the screen, you'll say book a tee time. You click that. It's going to give you an option also to buy a gift card. So you can buy a gift card online. You can email it to that person. If you would like to buy the gift card and have a physical card to give over the holidays or for any other occasion, we can certainly do that too. You can contact me directly, or you can contact the pro shop, give us a call, and we'll be happy to drop that in the mail for you for a good stocking stuffer. It is October 1st is tomorrow, and we have got a lot of fall seasonal inventory coming in. We really try to pack a lot of stuff in here for the holidays. Not necessarily, golf balls and tees and gloves and shirts and hats. I mean, we'll have T-shirts and hoodies and glassware and mugs and blankets and luggage and anything with Stono Ferry on it. We're going to have it. So if you do have a loved one that loves this course as much as I do, then come on out, get some gear with Stono Ferry on it, and make somebody's holiday season. I like it.
Absolutely. Maybe you could bundle up 6 of those hot dogs or something and send those to somebody as well, because that would be a hell of a gift. Stono Ferry wieners are the best.
And lesson packages too. We offer always around the holiday season. We offer great deals on lesson packages. Yep. If you want to outfit somebody for all of 2022 for lessons, or just for 4, 6, 8 playing lessons, whatever it may be, we bundle all those together, can put those in a nice certificate form for a gift as well.
That's why you're the man, Scott. Scott Glaze for golf lessons and a nice haircut. stonoferrygolf.com. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I know you're still riding high on the American domination last weekend, as we all are. But we'll do this again next week. I don't know what we'll talk about, but we'll do this again next week.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we got a good weekend of football. So everybody enjoy football. You can come out and play. Lots of tee times available. But, we'll see you all next week.
Thanks. See you, Scotty.
Later, man.
There you go. Scott Glaze, stonoferrygolf.com. He's actually sending me 2 gift cards to give I don't know how they're doing it, giving them away in my children's school fall festival.
I got to get something in the mail to you. I will do that today.
Oh, yeah, you too. Right. Well, the Fall Festival is on October the 30th. They had asked me to volunteer to help out. I said, yeah, it's football season. They said, it's October 30th. I said, damn it, Carolina's off. I can't get out of this.
It's Halloween. It's football season.
I'll set up at 9 a.m. I'll be done by 10. It's pretty simple.
All right.
Thanks to Scott and Skylar Meade and David Shelton and David Cloninger. The big Gamecock preview show tomorrow with J.C. Sherbert back on set at 1 o'clock. Rafael Esparza at 12:30 on all of our picks. Y'all know how it works around here on Fridays. What else are you going to do? Have a thirsty Thursday afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow on the JB and Goldwater show, driven by Stokes Volkswagen.